Hey guys, welcome back to my kitchen. I hope everybody is having a wonderful morning this morning. If you hear like crunching in the background, that's my pups. They are currently having their mid-morning snack. They've been outside all morning just enjoying the sunshine today, so they just come in for a little snack and they will more than likely go right back outside. But anyways, today we are going to be making my pumpkin pie swirl rolls, and they are so delicious. I kind of combined my pumpkin bread and my cinnamon rolls together, and this recipe was created. I made these for Christmas and for Thanksgiving this year, and they were absolutely a big hit. They were such a big hit. So I figured that I would bring you guys along and show you how I make them. Now this is a sourdough recipe, so you're going to need to start this recipe the day before. It is not like a typical yeasted dough. However, you can use a yeasted dough in this. It just, if that's what you prefer. I like it with sourdough because I think it just pairs well. All of the ingredients pair well together. If you are not familiar with working with sourdough, once you get your sourdough established, it takes about 7 days. I've got a whole blog post on it on my website. You can click the link down there in the description box below and it'll take you to my website. You can just look up sourdough starter and it'll take you through all of that. So like I said, I started this yesterday, and with a sourdough it needs to rise about 10 to 24 hours in advance. As with a yeasted dough, it just takes an hour to 3 hours to rise, depending on how warm or how cold your house is. The same goes with sourdough. Depends on how fast it will rise, depends on how warm or cold your house is. So I've got that done. I've got just a few more ingredients to add to that, and then we'll roll it out and be good to go. So I've got a can of pumpkin that I need to use up, so I figured this would be the perfect recipe to make for a quick breakfast in the morning or a dessert. So yeah, I've got all of my ingredients set out here ready to go. I'll talk you through everything. So yeah, let's go over all of the ingredients and we'll get started. Okay guys, so this is everything you're gonna need. I've got my sourdough starter going back here, well, my sourdough dough going back here. I still need to add some baking soda, some baking powder, and some salt to it. We'll go over that in just a minute. All this is butter, flour, sourdough starter, buttermilk, and honey in here, just mixed up, and it rose beautifully. It's doubled in size, so still gonna add those. For my filling, I've got some brown sugar, pumpkin, cinnamon, cardamom, nutmeg, and I've got some floss here. I love using this for cutting up the cinnamon rolls. I just think it just makes the perfect cut in the cinnamon rolls, but if you don't want to use it, you can use a knife. It works fine. Done it plenty of times. For the glaze that goes on top, I've got some powdered sugar, vanilla, cream, and some butter. I'm going to melt this butter up and add it into the glaze later. So yeah, that's all you're going to need. Let's get everything situated and we'll get these cinnamon rolls going, because I cannot wait to eat these. Okay, so hopefully you can see everything. I've got my pumpkin here, just the whole can. I got it in a bowl. We're going to go ahead and add all of this together. We're going to start out with our filling first. So that way when the cinnamon rolls get nice and rolled out, we can just put the filling in and just roll them up. It'd be so much easier than rolling it out than doing the filling. So I've got my pumpkin, my brown sugar. I'm going to go ahead and add in my cinnamon. If you like cinnamon, you can certainly add more. Since this is pumpkin, I want the flavors to kind of meld together and not compete with each other. So I add about a teaspoon of that. Now I'm going to add in my cardamom. And this just adds a beautiful flavor to the pumpkin. It's so, so good. And then we're going to add in some nutmeg. Again, this adds such a beautiful flavor. I love it. I love keeping pumpkin on hand because you can add it to so many things and it's delicious. When I make my winter beef stew, I will add just a little bit of pumpkin to it and it turns out so, so good. I make pancakes, waffles. My dogs love it as well. It's a nice treat for them. So I love having pumpkin on hand. Alright. Now once you get this all nice and combined together, you're just going to set this aside and then we will work on our dough. Okay, so I've got my dough here. And I just had it covered with plastic overnight. And we're going to go ahead and add in the remaining ingredients. So we're going to do a half of a teaspoon of salt, just right on top. Some baking powder. Now I like to do this in a sifter. Baking powder and baking soda gets clumps in it and we don't want clumps. So I'm just going to add that right in there. You certainly don't want to bite down on a clump of baking powder or baking soda. That's horrible. So I've got that in there. I'm just going to set all of this stuff to the side. Now I haven't gotten my oven preheated yet because I want to preheat this when I get it all together, so that way I can just cover the rolls up with a little tea towel and they can rise up while the oven is preheating. So I've got my rolling pin and I've got my gigantic tub of flour here. Make sure you have a nice clean work surface, and all you're going to do now is just mix this together. It's going to be quite sticky, but we'll get it all worked out. So just make sure you go in and mix everything together very, very well. Like I said, you don't want to have clumps of baking soda and baking powder. So just take your time, work it together, and then we will move on to the next step. Okay, so I've got my surface here floured, a little bit of flour, and I just worked the dough for about a minute or two in the bowl. And I'm going to set that bowl aside. And now all we're going to do is kind of knead this together for just a second, just to make it a little bit more pliable. You don't want it to be too, you want it to stay nice and kind of sticky. So we're just going to flour our rolling pin a little bit just to keep it from sticking. And then you're just going to roll this out into a cinnamon roll shape. You can do it as thick or as thin as you want. So I'm just going to go ahead and roll this out. And then I will meet you right back here, and then we will add the filling. Okay, so I've got my dough rolled out. It's about 1/4 of an inch thick. It's about 12 by 22. And if you need more flour to keep it from sticking, go ahead and put some down. So now all we're going to do is add our filling right on top. And then we are going to spread this out. Now if you don't like a lot of filling like we do, you can go ahead and half it. But we love filling, so we're just going to use the whole can. Okay. So now all you're going to do is kind of spread this out. Leave a border so that way when you roll it up, it doesn't make too much of a mess. So I like to leave about a 1/2 inch border. It doesn't really matter on the sides. Just leave a border around one side of the dough that you're going to be rolling to. So that way it doesn't ooze out of one side. And once you get it all spread out how you want it, we can start rolling it up. So I think this looks just about good. I want to get a little bit more on the edges here. It doesn't really matter there. It's going to ooze out on that side anyway. Alright, so now all you're going to do is start rolling it up. I like to start in the center and kind of roll out the edges, kind of tuck and roll. And then go to the other side and kind of tuck and roll. And you're going to do this until the entire roll is rolled up, and then we will cut them out. Okay, so I'm at the end here, and all I'm going to do now is just kind of roll it over and kind of pinch the edges together just to seal it up. As best as you can. Put it seam side down. Oh, I got a break in it right there. That's okay. It's still going to taste delicious. Kind of pinch that back together. Okay, I'm going to give my hands a rinse and then clean up just a second, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so I've got my cast iron pan here. I've got another one sitting on the stove. I've got my floss. And all you're going to do is cut these into individual little pieces, about 1.5 to 2 inches, if that's how big you want it. So what I do is I just kind of cut it in half, cut that half in half, and then cut the other half in half. So that way I get as even pieces as I possibly can. And we will put them in our pan. Now these little end pieces are just absolutely cute. I kind of just stick them in the pan as they are. Leave a little bit of a gap in between your pieces, so that way they're gonna rise again. They'll have enough room to rise, and the swirls are absolutely gorgeous when you do it this way. But if you don't want to use floss, you don't have to. You can use a knife. And then just keep doing this and filling your pan. And when you get it all done, we will preheat the oven so that way they have enough time to rise, because it's going to take about 30 minutes or so for these to rise. And then I will meet you right back here, and we'll get these in the oven. Okay, so I've got my rolls in here, and I've got my oven preheating to 400 degrees. All I'm going to do now is put a tea towel over the top, and I've got it sitting in the center of my oven so it doesn't get too hot, because I don't want them to cook quite yet. I just want them to be warm so that way they can rise and look delicious. So I'm going to let these rise while my my oven preheats, and then I will meet you right back here and we'll get them in the oven. Alright guys, so my oven is preheated to 400 degrees and my rolls are beautiful and puffed up and nice. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in the oven for about 30 to 35 minutes, just until they are completely cooked through and nice and golden brown. And I will show you what they look like right when they get out of the oven. And in the meantime, we'll go ahead and make our drizzle to go on the top. Okay guys, so I've got my powdered sugar here. I've got some extra here just in case I need it. My vanilla, salt, my cream, and my butter. I just let it sit on the stove while my oven was preheating and it melted fine. So I'm going to go ahead and add that right into my powdered sugar along with my cream and some vanilla. About a teaspoon, two teaspoons would be fine. A pinch of salt just to balance out the flavors. And we're just going to give this a mix. Now if it's too thick, you can add more cream. If it's too thin, you can add more powdered sugar. Just keep mixing it together. It'll come together. And this will be ready as soon as the rolls come out of the oven. It will be ready to put on top of the cinnamon rolls. So I'm just going to set this aside and we'll wait for the rolls to get done, and then we'll move on to the next step of topping these delicious rolls, and I'll show you what they look like. Okay guys, so these just come out of the oven. I let them sit for about 2 minutes or so just to cool down slightly, and they're ready to put the icing on. And I wanted them to cool down just a little bit because I didn't want the icing to completely melt over the top. And then all you're going to do is just pour the icing right on top. And it's going to get down into all of that yummy, yummy pumpkin pie filling, and it's going to be so good. So I'm just going to spread this around and make sure they're all covered in that icing. And then you're pretty much good to go. You can let these sit and cool down if you want to. You can go ahead and just dig right in. They're great for breakfast or dessert. And that is what they look like. I will get one out and show you what just one looks like. Okay, so I went ahead and just cut a little bit of this one so I can get it out. Now you always know the first one looks so horrible, but they taste so good. And that is what it looks like. Alright guys, that is going to wrap up today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. It really helps to support my channel. Also, if you are new, hit that subscribe button down below. Be part of the family here at the Southern Rustic. Now I've got some new content planned for you guys. I'm not sure how it's going to go. I kind of want to do some grocery hauls for you guys because I know a lot of people enjoy grocery hauls, and I've got to do a grocery run coming up, so maybe that's something I can do for you guys. And I also want to do more of a vlog style kind of thing this summer because we're going to be doing a lot more stuff this summer. I've got a lot of stuff planned for the family this summer. So maybe that's something that you guys might want to see, just what we do during the summertime. And if it does really good on the channel, I'll probably keep doing it. It's kind of like a test run. So yeah, you guys, if you are new, my name is Sam. Hi, welcome. Hit that subscribe button down below and be part of the family here at the Southern Rustic. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, like I said, don't forget to subscribe, hit that thumbs up. And if you want this recipe or any of my other recipes, you can click the link down in the description box below. It'll take you right to my website. My website's also always pinned in the comment section, so if you can't find it in the description box, check the comment section. You'll find it there. Just click that link. It'll take you right to my website, and you can search up all of my recipes. So yeah, we're going to go enjoy some of these delicious, delicious pumpkin pie rolls. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.